has two nodes present in it, that will be much better. So these cuttings are taken. Sometimes we can directly plant them into the soil, or sometimes we can treat them with some special hormones. Okay, na? Okay. So hormones are special substances that will help in the growth of this stem. So we can treat them with hormones. Okay, and that hormone will induce the development of the root in them. It will basically help in growth of the roots from the system. So you plant it, and thereby after a few days it will start to develop a root system and will start to grow into a new plant. So that was the cutting method. Getting it? That's the cutting method. So there are many plants that are grown by the cutting method. Okay, there are many plants. For example, sugar cane. Um, we have grapes, roses. So stem cuttings of these plants can be used to grow a new plant. So just to name some of them, we have examples of sugar cane. Roses an example, and the grapes are also grown by this manner. Next is the grafting. Yes, Abu Bakr, how are you? In the grafting method, basically, we take up a plant. We basically take up two plants, and they are basically joined together. One of the plant would be rooted into the ground, will have the root system. Another one will be basically the having the shoot system. It will not have any roots in it. So if there are two plants, both of them are having some favorable characteristics. Okay, now they are having some favorable characteristics. Suppose they are two mango plants, okay, of different species. One is the first species of the mango plant have got a very good root system. The root systems are very good. Okay, now the water absorption capacity of that plant is very good, but it does not bear good and sweet fruit. But you have plant B, whose root system is not that good, but the shoot system is very good. It bears healthy fruits, fruits which are bigger in size and are sweeter. So both of them are having some favorable characteristics. So if you were to combine them together, so as a result, we will get such a plant whose root system will also be good, plus the fruits or vegetables basically growing on it will also be very good. So that is all about this method of grafting. So the plant into the ground, okay, that is into the ground, that is rooted into the ground, that is called as a stalk. And the another plant which has the shoot system, that is called a scion. So we take them, we can treat them with some hormones also. We can use some hormones to trigger the growth. So you will basically tape up them. We will join them, and it is observed that after some time, the tissues of the two plants will start to integrate. They will start to merge together, and after some time, they will start to grow as one single plant. Okay, no, they will start to grow as one single plant. So we will see that also the vascular tissues of the plant, like xylem, and the phloem, that will also become one. That will also integrate. So that is all about the method of grafting here. All of you turn your cameras on in the class. Yes, Pink, Abu Bakr, was everyone. Turn your cameras on. All right. Now, as for this method of grafting, many plants like the one which we were discussing about, like the mango. So for mango, it is done. For the roses, also it can be done. You guys also think of some of the plants. Think of some of the plants that can be grown by the method of grafting. Yeah. Can it be done by done it to apple? Yes. We can grow the apples also by the grafting method. Okay, apple can be grown for. Then you have guavas also. Guavas are there. Avocado are there. Avocado. Then there are many vegetable plants also that can also be grafted. All right, like for example, tomatoes can be grafted with many other varieties of tomatoes. About the layering method, the horizontal growing stems of the plants that we basically bend to the ground. Like the stem of the plant is basically bent to the ground with the help of these hooks. So these stems actually have got a special type of birds on them. From those birds, the special type of roots will grow that is called as adventitious roots. Yes, Priyanka?
Sir, can you check the chat?
Yeah, just 1 minute. Uh, Physics paper. Okay, okay, that is very good. Very good, Priyanka. Okay, recently you have given your test. No? It was, I guess, on 4th of Feb, or when was it?
Yes, sir.
4th of February, right? Okay, so from physics you got this much of marks. What about the other papers?
Sir, bio I didn't get yet. The
Bio,
sum.
not yet. Okay, okay.
The thing is, I lost 2 marks because I lost different answer, different questions. So lost.
Okay, so like you were meant to answer some other question, but you answered a different question, or the numbering got jumbled up.
No, sir. Like they asked different question and I wrote different answer. That's the thing.
Okay, okay. What was the question? Can you let me know?
Yes, sir. Can you wait a minute?
Mhm. Okay, so here you see that adventitious roots are growing, and adventitious roots do not grow from the base of the stem, base of the main stem. Getting it now? So they are not originating from any part of the, like from the, like these are the roots that grow from any part of the plant other than the primary root system. This is its primary root system. Getting it, guys? That's the primary root. So these adventitious roots are not originating from the primary root system. Okay. So even before the roots starts to grow, they will have the birds on these different locations, on these different places. They have got birds. From these birds, the adventitious roots are going to grow. So that is how why the method of layering the plants can be grown. Is that much clear? Plants like strawberries or the mint, basically strawberries grows via the method of layering. All right. So plants like um, we have a strawberry. Apart from that, raspberry also. So that can also be grown by this manner. So strawberry. Okay. Then you have also raspberry. These plants are grown by the layering method. All right. So although they can grow naturally also, but when we do it artificially, it becomes much more productive. Okay, it becomes much more productive. Then we have the tissue culture. No, see, tissue culture will be done only for a special type of plants, like for mango plant or for some other plants which are already abundant in number, which are not endangered species of plants. We are not going to carry out tissue culture for them. Getting it? So tissue culture will be particularly done for plants that are endangered. All right. So it can be used to preserve those endangered species of the plants. So it serves as a very vital tool for conserving those rare and endangered plants. Otherwise, it can become extinct. So in the method, what we will do, we will take sample from any part of the plant. Particularly, we take the sample from the shoot system. Okay. So a small portion of the tissue has been taken. Now it is placed in a nutrient-rich medium. We place it in a nutrient-rich medium, and that medium is basically called as agar. Okay, no? So it has got so much of nutrients and growth hormones, like the hormones that will promote the growth of the plant, like auxin, which is a growth hormone found in plant. So that will help in stimulating the growth. That will help in growth of these tissue samples. So samples will start to grow, and you can see it has started to grow into very tiny plantlets. Okay. So once it starts to grow into tiny plantlets, thereby its nutrition requirement increases. It needs more nutrition. Then we put into the compost. Compost is basically rich organic matter. It's a rich organic matter. So the plantlets will start to grow here, and from here we will now transplant it to the field. We will transplant it into the field. And that method is called as transplantation, by the way. Transplantation, that is the thing. So tissue culture is done basically to preserve those rare and endangered plant species that are unable to grow under natural conditions. So that was all about these the artificial or the natural vegetative propagation. So there are many benefits of this type of asexual reproduction. First thing is that the plants that are grown by the vegetative propagation method, they are not growing from the seeds now. When you grow the plant from a seed, it takes a long span of time, right? But the plants that are produced with the vegetative propagation, they are growing faster, right? But if the same plant were to be growing by the sexual method, suppose, that would have taken a longer period of time. It has to go through pollination, then fusion of the male and female gamete, then fruit development, seed dispersal, and all that would have taken, then even the seed germination, that would have taken a long period of time. Getting it? Further, the plants that reproduce with the vegetative reproduction have fruits and flowers ahead of time. Okay, like you observe this thing in nature that plants bears fruits and flowers at a certain period of the year. Getting it now? At a certain period of the year. So like some of them can be annual plant, like they will be flowering once in a year. Some of them would be biennial, meaning that they'll be flowering twice in a year. Some of them can be perennials. Getting it now? That is one thing. So that is the problem with those kind of plants. Okay, but in the case of the vegetative propagation, they can reproduce and they can have fruits and flowers ahead of the time. Suppose if a plant is a plant that is grown via the sexual reproduction method, that has been grown by the sexual method of reproduction. Okay, and there is another plant that has been grown by the vegetative propagation method. Vegetative propagation, and this one has been grown by the sexual reproduction method. So if this one is going to bear, suppose, bear flowers on fourth month of the year, so it will be observed that this one is going to bear it on the third month of year, only in the third month of year. So that is the advantage of this the plants grown by the vegetative propagation method. All right, so if they are bearing the flowers early, so it means that they will be bearing the fruit early also, because the flowers converts to the fruit, right? That is one thing. Another important thing about these kind of plants grown by the vegetative propagation is that the new plants are exact copy of their parents. They have the same characteristics as the parents have. Getting it? Just like in the cloning method. Cloning, you guys have heard of the cloning? Cloning is done for samples of tissues or cells. There was this mammal, Dolly the sheep. Have you learned about this Dolly the sheep, the first cloned mammal? Hmm? No?
No, sir.
Okay, by the way, you guys have any idea about what is cloning?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
See, basically, when we create an exact copy of an organism or of the cell or some tissue, so that is called as cloning. Okay, now suppose, for example, via the scientific method, suppose there's a boy and an exact copy of that same boy is created. So this is done by the method of cloning. Yet it has, by the way, not been tried on humans. It has been tried on the animals, different mammals, but hasn't been tried on the humans. So what are we saying that when cloning is done, like there was this Dolly the sheep for which cloning was done. So the sheep was basically identical to her parent. Getting it? She was identical to her parent because it has the same characteristics, same color, same size of the body and all that when it will grow. So everything was same. So same is the case with the plants also grown by the vegetative propagation method. So here we have done the revision of vegetative propagation. Another methods of asexual reproduction were budding, spore formation, fragmentation, etc. In the budding, what we see that we have an organism that is called as a yeast. It's a single cell organism, and do not confuse it with the plant. It's a fungi and not a plant. Okay, no? It's a fungi. So it can grow very fast if adequate amount of nutrition is available to it. So under the favorable condition, the parent yeast will develop a bud on it. The bud will later on grow into the new cell and finally will detach from the parent cell. So hence a new yeast cell has been formed. Sometimes it can remain attached to the parent cell and can form a chain of yeast cell like this. Getting it? So this is why the method of budding. Okay. So budding is observed in that fungi, and it is also observed in some aquatic animals also, like you have this hydra. That also grows by this method of budding. A small bud grows, and later on this bud is going to detach from the parent and will grow independently. Okay, note down that the hydra and the fungi should not be confused as plant. These are not plants. All right. Then fragmentation, we are studying this because it is there in the syllabus and also of the reason that fungi is many times confused as plants. So that was the topic. That's why it is included. As for fragmentation, as we know about alga, like these green structures that you see sometimes growing on the rocks and sometimes we can find down this in polluted water bodies also. So alga, like there are many species of alga. You have one such species of alga by the name of Spirogyra. Here is the example. Here is the image of a Spirogyra under the microscope. Okay, so when it will get adequate amount of water, and nutrients, then it will start to grow. And what will happen? It will start to break into different fragments. And each fragment, when it will get adequate amount of water and nutrients, will grow into new individuals. And within a very short period of time, it can spread rapidly like this. As you can see here, in a short span of time, like a week or 10 or 15 days, it can grow this much in size. So that is the method of fragmentation. Okay, and the name fragmentation basically comes from the fact that the parent organism splits up into two fragments. Fragments mean pieces. So, and each fragment grows into further new alga. Like this one is also going to grow into new alga when it will divide. So that was all about fragmentation. Next is the spore formation. So some plants, like generally what we know that the fungi have spores in them. Like this one here is the example of a fungi. Do not confuse it with the plant. So fungi, how do they do reproduction? How do they multiply? So on top of the fungi, they have a bulb-like structure called as a sporangium. So once the fungi is fully mature, it is in its adult stage, we can say, then it bursts open, as you can see in the animation, how it is bursting open. So due to the bursting open, thousands and thousands of spores are released into the air, and wherever the spore will land, as if it's way to land on this bread, it will get moisture, it will get food, and will start to grow. So similar thing happens in some plants also. There are some plants that contains spores. Okay, like you can see in this fern. Fern has this spore growing on its leaf. Moss also has a has the spores on it. Okay, Priyanka, you have shared some sheets. 1 minute. So concave and convex. This one got wrong. Concave, it is reflecting surface is curved inward. It is called as concave mirror. As for convex, if the reflecting surface is curved outward, it is called as convex mirror. What was the question? Can you read the question? What exactly was the question?
Yes, sir.
You have sent the question, no? Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Which question number is this?
The 7.
Okay, describe the characteristics of the image from a concave mirror and mention two of its uses. See, the question was asking a different thing. You have answered a different thing, no? That's why teacher has cut it. Questions
Yes.
asking about the characteristics of the image. Okay, the definition which we have written, it is correct. Okay, you have written something else what the question was asking. Okay. Okay, we will discuss that in a minute.
Okay,
All
sir.
right. Hmm. Yeah, I was saying that some plants have spores growing on them. And spores, they have a hard protective cover around them. Okay, no, like they do not get spoiled very easily. They have a hard protective cover around them that will protect them from unfavorable environmental conditions. If the temperature or humidity or pressure rises up too much, it will still be protected. So also they are very lightweight. No, they are very lightweight. They are not heavy. So wind can carry it to different places. So they can travel long distances and can survive for long period of time. So wherever it will fall, if it gets adequate amount of nutrition and moisture, so it will start to germinate and will grow into a new plant. So examples are important moss and fern. Okay, Abu Bakr, Priyanka, everyone. So that was all about the asexual reproduction in the plants. Hope it is clear to everyone. Okay. Just hold on 1 minute. I'll be dropping some questions in the chat box. You guys will be answering it. Okay. Okay. In the chat box, I have dropped some questions. These questions are from the asexual reproduction. Okay, Priyanka, Abu Bakr was. By the way, the numbering of the questions are a little bit not in orientation, so be careful while answering. All of you turn your cameras on. Yes, Priyanka, Abu Bakr was. First question, which of the following is an example of asexual reproduction in plants? Your options are pollination, seed formation, budding, fertilization. Like which one is related basically, an example of asexual reproduction? I guess all of you have got the question. Yes, Abu Bakr. Yeah, that is correct, boss. You guys can answer in the class also. Second question is, which part of the plant is involved in vegetative propagation? Examples were flowers. Second, B is root, stem, and leaves, then seeds and ovule. That is correct.
Sir,
Abu Bakr, you had doubt in this chapter, no? You are not answering. Yeah, Priyanka.
for the first one, is it C, birthday?
Exactly. Very good. Also, one more thing. You guys tell me, like, I still have not got the question papers. You guys didn't send the answer sheet. Neither Abu Bakr, you, neither Priyanka. Hmm? In which type of the third question basically number that is 11, but it's a third question. In which type of asexual reproduction are new plants produced from a parent plant, stem or leaf?
Sir,
Yeah, that is correct. Yes, Priyanka?
for the second one, is it B, roots, stem, and leaves?
Exactly. That is correct. Very good, cause all your answers are correct. Yeah, Abu Bakr, you haven't answered any questions.
Sir,
Yes.
for the third one, is it C, vegetative propagation?
Vegetative propagation.
Okay, sir.
And the fourth one? Yes. Fourth one is fern now, fern. Fourth question is, which of the following plants reproduces through the process of spore formation? You have two examples. Just now we discussed fern and moss, right? And the last one, which of these is not a method of asexual reproduction in plant? Grafting is asexual method. Budding is there, cutting is there, but which one is there? Pollination, obviously. Okay. Abu Bakr, I suppose you are able to hear me. You're not responding. You have, or are you answering it on the other ID? No. Okay, see. About the sexual reproduction in plants, we have learned that the reproductive parts of the plant, namely the
Sir, I'm
flowers.
typing my chat answers in the chat box.
Okay, type it soon, type it faster. So, in sexual reproduction in plants, the main thing here in sexual reproduction is that there is involvement of the gametes. The sex cells are involved in this, respectively, the male and the female gametes are involved in sexual reproduction. Okay, so the question comes that which part of the plant are reproductive part? Which one of the plant's part is reproductive organ? So obviously it's the flowers, right? So flowers are the reproductive unit in plants. Okay, and flowers have got reproductive parts, namely it has the male and the female reproductive parts in it. Okay, stamen is the male part and carpel is the female part. A stamen comprises of anther and filament both, while that of the carpel or like pistil, okay, carpel is another name for pistil. So that comprises of a stigma, style, and ovary. Then flowers can also be of two types, depending whether they have both the part stamen and pistil or if they have only one. There are two types of flower. So bisexual flowers, they have both stamen and pistil. Okay. But then you have unisexual flowers that they will have either a stamen, will either have pistil. Okay, will either have a stamen or will either have pistil. Now you guys tell me, is there any possibility of self-pollination in unisexual flowers if they only have one of the reproductive part in them?
No, sir.
No. Getting it? Good. These are the parts of the flower as you can see here. The central part of the flower basically makes up the female part. The top swollen structure is a stigma, this is a style, and this one is ovary. Inside the ovary, we have the ovule that later on becomes the seed. And ovule actually contains, what does it contain? Female gamete or female sex cell. That is basically ovum. So if question is asked, where is ovum present? So it is present inside the ovule. All right. The colorful parts, that is petals. By the way, you guys tell me, what are the functions of the petals? Uh, What function do the petals perform in the flower?
Attract insects.
Attract insects, basically attract the pollinators, right? Okay,
Yes.
no? So that is the main function. Okay, so they are kind of acting as attracting thing, of basically acting as a visual signal for the pollinators to come towards it and help in pollination and complete its reproductive cycle. Okay, so it has got something to do with the attraction mechanism. Other than that, it will also offer some amount of protection to the delicate reproductive organs, as it will be basically surrounding it, so it will be offering some protection to it also. Okay, next we have the stamen, that is made up of anther and filament together. Now, where in this the pollen grains are found? Okay, let me see your answer. What you've answered: B, B, C. Oh, hold on, with while others are answering. Yeah, where is the pollen grain found? For this one, you have answered
In the
B.
anther.
Yeah, in the anther, correct. Abu Bakr, the first question: which of the following is an example of asexual reproduction in plants? You have answered this as option number B. No. Asexual reproduction basically is budding now. Then for the second one, it's B. Hold on. Which out of the plant is involved in vegetative propagation? So that is where that one is correct. So that one is also correct. Okay. Yeah, last one is correct. The first answer was only not correct. Okay, now. Next, talking about pollination. So pollination is basically the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. It could be between the same flower. Okay, it can go from the anther of this flower to the stigma of, and it can occur between two flowers, but they have to be of the same species. Okay, the pollination is transfer of the pollen grains from anther to the stigma, that is from male part of the plant to the female part, that is the stigma, to help in formation of seeds. It is of two types: self-pollination, also called as autogamy, in which the pollen grains are landing from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or of another flower but on the same plant. Getting it now? So of the same flower of another flower on the same plant. But as for cross-pollination, okay, that is cross-pollination. So in this we see that the pollen grains would be landing from from anther of the plant of the flower to the stigma of another flower on the different plant. So that's the case of cross-pollination, also called as allogamy. Okay, as you can see here in the animation. Now, what happens after the pollen grain lands onto the stigma? So after it will be landing onto the stigma, you will see that it will form a pollen tube. And via the pollen tube, the pollen grain that contains the sperm cells will be entering into the ovule. And ovule inside has got ovum. So the sperm cell and the ovum will fuse together and will lead to formation of zygote, and the zygote will further grow into this embryo. Okay, now the baby plant basically. What is embryo? It's the baby plant found inside the seed. All right, now. So that is the thing. So after fertilization has taken place, so thereby it results in the formation, like the ovule will be converting into the seed, and inside the seed we have got this baby plant. And what about the ovary? You can see the ovary surrounding the seed. That's the fleshy edible part. That is basically fruit. So ovary has converted into the fruit, and the ovule converted into the seed. And when the seed will be planted into the soil, it will germinate and will grow into plantlet, and a new plant will grow. So that makes up the complete reproductive cycle of the flowering plant. Is that much clear to everyone what we have discussed here?
Yes, sir.
Hmm? So first, pollination occurs. From pollination, the pollen tube would be forming, right? Pollen tube would be carrying the pollen grains all the way to the ovule. And the pollen grain basically contains the sperm cells on it. So once it goes to the ovule, the sperm cells would be fusing with the ovum, hence it results in formation of zygote. Okay. Then we did learn about pollination like it occurs in the aquatic plants also. We particularly have the example of Vallisneria and Hydrilla. So these are unisexual flowers. These are unisexual flowering plants, right? You can have the male plant and the female plant. So both of them would be basically releasing on the flowers onto the water body, particularly like the female plant would be releasing the flowers. Okay. And the male flower is also there, and both of them are very lightweight. Okay, so they are not very heavy, so they'll be floating on top of water. So when they will come in contact with one another, so pollination will occur, where the anther would be transferring the pollen grains to the stigma, and their pollination occurs. So Vallisneria is the scientific name for the commonly called tape grass. Then various pollinating agents are there: wind, water, then insects. These are pollinating agents that will help in transfer of pollen grains from one place to another. But recently, we are seeing that due to the loss of the habitat, due to the change in the climate and the wind pattern, and the misuse of the chemicals, the spread of diseases, pollinators are actually facing some threat from these problems. Next, we learned that we did learn about the seed dispersal, right? So in the seed dispersal, what we learned that it's a process by which seeds are spread from parent plant to new locations, and it is important as it will help in plant diversity in region. It will help in reducing the competition for the plants in a given region. Getting it? So some plants have seeds that are very light, have fluffy, or can have wings like the maple leaf wing you see over here, or some of them have spikes on them like the xanthium. So some of them can be carried by the wind. The one that is lightweight and fluffy have wings can be carried, while some of them have spikes on them, so that can be carried by the animals. Getting it? Also, you can see like the coconut. The coconut is dispersed particularly by the action of the water. Coconut, the waves in the oceans would be carrying it from one island to another. So that is how it is dispersed. Further, you have got bursting seeds also. Like you have this balsam plant. Okay, so once it will be mature, like once the seeds have formed in it. Okay, the fruits have formed basically. So even if a drop of water were to fall on it, now you will see it will burst open. As you can see over here in this one. Okay, it is bursting open. Just even if a drop of water were to fall on it. So the seeds will be released into different directions, and wherever it will fall, it will grow into a new plant. So that's the balsam plant. Then there are many benefits of this seed dispersal. The first thing is it is preventing the overcrowding of the plants. Suppose if the fruits that have seeds in them were to fall on the same spot where the plant is growing, okay, were to fall on the same place. So what will happen if it germinates? So new plant will grow from this. So it will lead to overcrowding, right? It will lead to overcrowding, and further will lead to competition between the two plants for sunlight, for the water, for the nutrients, etc. So it reduces competition also. Why the seed dispersal? When it will be carried from this place to another, it will reduce the competition, plus it will also promote genetic diversity. In a place A, suppose only 5 species of plants are growing, but now a seed is carried by the wind to this region. So now there's one more species of plant introduced. So thereby the diversity of the region is going to increase. Further, many times a given region could be prone to predators. Many insects, many birds would be eating onto the what do we say seeds now. Getting it now. So birds are kind of threat to the seeds in a way that they are very fond of eating certain kind of seeds, right? So they are damaging them, particularly if the seeds are fleshy nuts. So fleshy seeds are eaten by the birds a lot. So it helps them avoid this also. Okay. Then it is seen that many fruits are called as false fruits. Uh, have you heard of this? Like apple is called as a false fruit, strawberry, pineapple, or the cashew, they are called as false fruits. Have you heard of this or no? What generally we know that
No, sir.
a fruit develops from the ovary now. Yes or no? What we know that a fruit develops from the ovary actually. What was once a ovary in the plant, in the flower, now converts into the fruit. So that is a true fruit. If a fruit develops from the ovary, then that is a true fruit. But if the fruit develops from tissues that are present near the ovary, from other tissues, okay, na? So when fruits develop from other parts, then that kind of fruit is called as false fruit. That is called as false fruit. So apple or strawberry or pineapple, cashew, etc. These are considered as false fruits. Is that thing clear to everyone? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Further, it is not necessary that every fruit will have seed in it. Okay, it is not necessary. So we have this example of this banana. Okay. So not every fruit needs to have a seed in it. So some fruits develop without fertilization. Okay, no? Some fruits would be developing without fertilization. That's kind of a unique thing. So you can see different fruits like bananas, and also some varieties of watermelon also does not have seeds. You might have seen in the market like some the species of banana, some species of the watermelons have seeds, but some of them do not have seeds in them. So that is the case. So here we have done this one also. Now I'll be putting some questions in the chat box. But before we do so, the question which you had, Priyanka, yeah. So question was, you have to basically explain the characteristics of image formed by the concave and convex mirror. Yeah, that is what the question was. So I'd be expecting you guys also to answer this question, particularly Nawaz, Abu Bakr. I remember while we were doing the light chapter, we have done about these things, learned about these things. Particularly about the concave mirror, what we have learned. A concave mirror is the one whose reflecting surface is bent inward, right? If you guys are not going to respond, how am I going to know whether you are understanding or kind of lost or
Yes, sir.
this is a concave mirror whose reflecting surface is bent inward. The first thing we will learn that this concave mirror, now when the rays of light falls on it, what happens after the rays of light fall on it? It will be converging. Okay, now usually it converges to meet at a point. So thereby, if you guys recall that concave mirrors are also called as converging mirrors. Yes or no? They're also called as converging mirrors because when the rays of light will be falling onto this, it will come to meet at a point. Suppose that these are the rays of light that's falling on it. These are incoming rays of light. Okay, Priyanka, everyone. After reflection, they will come to meet at a point like this. Suppose like this. Like there's this common point at which they are meeting. So concave mirrors, first reflecting surface is bent inward. Next, also called as converging mirror. Okay. Talking about the nature of image formed by it. So see, the concave mirror, it can form real image as well as it can form the virtual image also. Okay. So image can be both real and virtual, but that depends upon how far the object is placed in front of it. Priyanka, particularly you getting it and everyone else? The nature of image formed by this can be real or it can be virtual. Next, talking about the size of image. The size of image can be smaller, same, or bigger in size, Okay. Next, the image is going to be inverted or whether it is going to be erect. Talking about the orientation, image orientation. So that too, in there also, we see that it can be inverted or real. Can be inverted or real. Is that much clear?
Yes, sir.
What about others?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's all about the concave mirror. It is having a surface that is bent inward. It is also called as converging mirror. Plus, the image form can be both real and virtual. Smaller, same size or bigger in size. Can be inverted or real. Then, as for this one, if you want to take a screenshot, just take it quickly, Priyanka. How would I drop it in the chat box?
Sir, I took.
Now, talking about this convex mirror. So, convex mirror, its reflecting surface is bent outward, as we know. Its reflecting surface is bent inward. The shaded portion shows the back of the mirror here. So, convex mirror, its reflecting surface is bent inward. Next, concave mirror was being called as converging mirror, but this one is called as diverging mirror. Getting it or not? So as the rays of light will fall on it like this, so they will diverge into different directions like this. They will diverge into different directions like this. So thereby we also call them as diverging mirrors. Okay. So also called as diverging mirrors. Now, as for the nature of the image formed by it, so image formed by this is always virtual in size. Not in size, in nature. So always virtual. Got it? About the size, so it is always smaller than that of the object. So always smaller than object. As for the orientation, so it is always erect. It is upright, always upright. So image orientation, it's always erect. Okay, always erect. Talking about the use of the concave and convex mirror. So see, the concave mirror will be particularly used in the shaving mirror, in the headlights, and as the dentist mirror. Getting it? Use of concave mirror. So used as headlight mirror, then will be used in shaving mirror also. Shaving mirror, then also used in dental mirror. Dentist mirror basically. As for the convex mirror, now keep this thing in mind that it forms smaller image. Okay, now so convex mirror, I think all of you would be aware of this convex mirror's use. It is used in, yeah, is anyone in the vehicles now, in the rear view mirrors of the vehicle? Yes, Abubakar, Priyanka. So
Yes,
its
sir.
uses are as follows: used as a rear view mirror, REAR, rear view mirrors in vehicles. Okay. Then also it is used as security mirrors also. Getting it? Also used as security mirrors also. Basically, wherever we need to obtain a small and a wide view of the given area. So there we use this. Is it clear to you, Priyanka, and to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Once again, I'll be dropping some questions. There are many more. There are many questions, but you guys will be answering whatever number of questions you guys will be able to answer in the given time. Hold on. So I have dropped a mock test. Although the time does not permit us to do all the questions, you guys download it quickly and start answering it right now in the class. All of you have got it there in the chat box. Check it quickly. First question is, which of the following is an example of sexual reproduction in plants? Yes, Abu Bakr, Priyanka, what's the answer?
Pollination and fertilization.
Good. Which part of flower is responsible for producing pollen grains? Basically pollen.
Answer.
And the next.
Sir, I can't open. Can you wait a minute?
Okay, I'll be waiting, but meanwhile others can continue to answer.
Pollination. Ovary.
That is ovary. Abu Bakr, what about you? You haven't answered any questions yet. And also tell me, Priyanka, you did not share the mock paper. Sorry, the answer sheet which you have given. You guys have given a test recently, no? Neither Abu Bakr you have shared. By the way, guys, I haven't told you marks actually. I have checked it, but what happened, like my phone recently got damaged. So I have lost all the data. So I have asked him to share it again. I will be checking it once again and then we'll be telling you your answer. Okay.
Okay.
By the way, when will you be available? Can you just let me know for the next class? When will you be available for that extra class for the chapter? We have wind, storm, and cyclone. Okay, that is almost done 50%. Then you have weather, climate, and adaptation also.
So tomorrow